Buongiorno, buona domenica e sono leggermente cotto da ieri. Ok, anche il bambolotto è un po' stanco. Comunque, spero che voi stiate tutti bene e siate sopravvissuti alla giornata di ieri della Games Week. Chi c'è andato? Stanno arrivando messaggi di insulti. Eh, ok, quindi vi dico già che questa sera alle, alle 21 ci saranno i Control M con Sea of Thieves. Allora, vediamo un po'. Punto esclamativo. CMD per ricordarvi sempre i comandi e punto esclamativo Control per ricordarvi tutti i componenti del Control M. Vi ricordo che attualmente online c'è Art Attack con Art Attack, Dairiku con 4 chiacchiere, Malvais con Tactics Ogre Reborn e lo scribacchino con Pokémon Rosso Fuoco Verde Foglia. Va bene, va bene, va bene, va bene. Quanto alto c'ho il volume? Va bene. Magari se lo allontano un pochetto. Meglio? Boh, chi lo sa. Mm, ok. Allora, andiamo in schermata. Poi apriamo Sam. Guardo un attimo che ho selezionato gli audio giusti. Audio desktop. Perfetto. E avviamo. Ok. Non so se finiremo mai in questa zona. Eravamo arrivati qua. Mm,
The perfect place.
Documentazione, questo l'avevamo circa capito. E comunque,
This is where Hartman saved the pictorial info from the current expedition.
ok.
The map of the camp.
Forse indica che dobbiamo
A map of the region to the south of the Basumtwi. Aha! That over there to the west has to be the mission that Hartman wrote about in his notes.
Qui c'è qualcosa.
It doesn't make sense to set off for the mission now. I don't want to be wandering about in the jungle after dark. I'll spend the night here in the camp. Chasing after our scientists will have to wait until tomorrow. I'll set up the motion sensors and build a nice big fire to keep the beasties at bay.
Come? Li rimuovo.
I ought to leave the state.
Perché posso rimuoverli? Che ci devo fare?
This sensor has a working range of 120 degrees. I ought to leave the stand where it is. I ought to leave the stand where it is. A four-legged stand. I ought to leave the stand where it is. I ought to leave a four-legged. This sensor has on the sensor, the working range of this sensor. A sensor with a working range of.
Ok.
The map of the camp.
Allora. Questo lavora a 90 gradi. Anche questo lavora a 90 gradi. Questo lavora a più di 90 gradi. Questo lavora decisamente di più di 90 gradi. Questo meno di 90 gradi. Ok.
A sensor with. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. On the sensor. On the sen. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. This sensor, the working range of this.
120.
I'm thinking the working
160.
I'm thinking
E 60, però non si vede.
I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand.
Ok.
Looks like the sensors are set up according to plan. There. All done. Now I'm gonna get some shut-eye. And in the morning, I'll head to the mission and track down this research team.
Proviamo a dormire. Manco sotto,
What are they? Animals? Nasty. I need to scare them off somehow. The wrench in the pipe. This is getting really weird. Those red eyes. There must be more than a dozen of them out there. Perhaps Perhaps I can find something to scare them off before they realize my fire isn't so scary after all. Like hell I will. I'm staying right by the fire. No mistake.
Non c'è più la scatola, riportata su.
The fire seems to be keeping the beasties at a distance, for now. But they're not being driven away by it.
Mamma mia, c'ho 800 cose da controllare. Penso che qualcosa debba andare bene con l'alcol.
There are a few ingredients missing from my favorite cocktail, such as rum and vodka and gin, maybe a little tequila. I also don't have any ice. Anyway, I've got more important things to do than get hammered in the jungle.
No. Forse allora prima devo bendare qualcosa.
This hoggard. Like hell I will. I'm staying right by the fire.
Aspetta un attimo, mi hanno rubato tutti i sensori? Me ne sono accorto adesso.
not exactly the best of the best, but it can take a usable picture, and the flash is top-notch.
Ok.
Maybe it'll give them a fright. They're gone. Hopefully they're gonna stay gone, too. It won't be too long now until sunrise.
Vediamo un po' le foto.
What a night. I never got back to sleep. What were those things? Hey, maybe I caught them on camera. What the? In all the horror movies I've ever watched, I've never seen anything like this. It's a westerly direction to get to the mission. Professor, I'm on my way.
Ok. Proviamo ad andare di qua.
The mission. At last.
Una chiesa.
Hello? Anyone home?
God be praised, my child. What can I do for you?
My name is Samantha Peters. I'm looking for a group of scientists. Their leader is called Professor Hartman. According to the notes I found in their camp, they were headed here before they disappeared.
Yes, the men you're looking for arrived here yesterday.
Finally, I've caught up. Can you take me to them?
Unfortunately, that's not possible. They are in quarantine.
Quarantine?
They are very ill. They have high fevers and are unresponsive. Nobody is allowed near them until the doctor gets here. We want to avoid any possible spread of the disease.
Can't I at least have a brief talk with Professor Hartman? It really is very important.
The professor isn't here.
Not here? Where is he?
If I've understood the men correctly, they were attacked at night and the professor was taken away.
Damn it! Do you know who attacked them?
You have to go now, my child. It is not safe here when the darkness falls.
What aren't you telling me? What is it that you're so afraid of? I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what's going on here.
Child, I just want to protect you. If I let you in, you could become infected, and outside you are not safe from the...
Yes, not safe from what? In the scientist's notes, it says that one of them was attacked by some animal species he didn't recognize before he became ill.
That was no animal.
Well, what was it then? For Christ's sakes! Oh, forgive me.
Our Father, who art in heaven.
Listen, sister. You will now talk, or else I will break the fifth commandment. Who ambushed the scientists and dragged off the professor?
They come from above. The trees.
Locals? Rebels? Hunters?
No, not humans.
Well, what then? Not animals? Not humans? Aliens, perhaps?
The Asambosam.
Asambosam? Never heard of him.
Ancient Ashanti legends tell of strange nighttime beings that lurk in wait for their victims among the boughs of the trees. They pluck unfortunate souls from the ground using their long, sharp claws and then drag them off to their caves where they then suck the blood from their victims' bodies.
So what does your boss have to say about your believing in such blasphemous scare stories?
Scare stories? When you have lived among the Ashanti as long as I have, there's very little that appears unbelievable.
Let's reel this conversation back in from the nether regions of God's asshole and stick to the facts. I shot this photo last night. This little freak was one of a whole group sitting in the trees above me. Might this be one of your Asambosam?
Holy Maria, Mother of God, you can count your blessings that you are still alive, my child.
So these freaks really have schlepped off the professor then? Suppose it's true. Where would the Asambosam take their victims?
Into their caves.
I got that bit. Where are they exactly?
My child, you really don't want to go there.
Yes, I do. There's one hell of a... Sorry. A real scoop of a story there for sure, and I just might be able to save the professor while I'm at it. That is, as long as these things haven't sucked him dry already.
Then I really won't be able to stop you, my child. Wait here a moment.
E non ti posso fermare. Ti sparo. No.
This will be a great help to you on your reckless undertaking. Take it.
What is it?
Some intense studies of the Assam-Bosam and Ashanti legends.
Thanks.
May the Lord watch over you.
Ok. Sì, però non mi inviti neanche per una tazza di caffè, riposare 10 minuti che almeno lì sembra sicuro la cosa? No. E poi questa cosa l'hanno costruita in un giorno? O si sono risvegliati dopo? Mio.
Father Samuel's grave. Strange. No epitaph, no date of birth, no date when he died. Just the name. Oh, and 9 curious symbols chiseled into the stone. Looks like lines and trees. I may at times have let myself get tired. It's going to be damned difficult for me to copy the symbols without a sheet of paper.
Abbiamo un po' il libro.
This is where the notes begin. So there were already patients at the mission with the same symptoms as the scientists.
12 maggio 1974. Allora, sto tenendo questo diario per trarre poi delle conclusioni più avanti. Ok.
So were these men under attack from the same creatures?
Ah.
Let's see. Here it is. The attackers came out of the trees and surrounded them.
Ok. Vediamo, pezzi conosciuti.
Interesting. There had also been similar cases in the past.
Ok.
The locals call the attackers the Asambosum. They're also supposed to be responsible for transmitting a virus. The old Ashanti shamans were able to control these mysterious beings and could protect themselves from the disease.
Ok. Queste qui. Mhm. Ok. Ok. Poche parole fanno riferimento a questi esseri, prima per mitologia, poi comunque si trovava una misteriosa malattia, hanno scoperto questi missionari, che difatti poi parlando con i vecchi del posto dicevano che appunto era data da questi esseri misteriosi. E leggendo un po', comunque tramandandole le cose, si pensa che questi qui facciano molto simili, cioè siano molto simili a tipo i vampiri delle leggende dell'Est Europa.
The priest found himself in great danger on his quest for the antidote. The Asambosum exist. Now it's gonna get interesting. Ugh, such a lot of text. The priest
L'ha detto
stumbled
anche
across
lei.
one of these Asambosum and followed him to a cave.
Ancora un sacco di testo. Che palle. Cioè si pigliano per il culo anche per queste cose. Direzione del lago. Aia. Ok.
The translation of the inscriptions at the cave entrance brought something astonishing to light. It detailed a description of a ritual which could protect against catching the Asambosum disease, and which could also cure it.
Sono entrato nella caverna.
They carried out the ritual, and despite no ready explanations for how, it worked. These experiences really rocked Father Samuel's concept of the world.
Ok.
This is where it lists what you need for the ritual and how to carry it out.
I 5 fiori che bisogna raccogliere.
Well, it's incredible. I suppose I have to accustom myself to the notion that the Asymbosum may not be pure fiction. The priest's very convincing. Unfortunately, he took his knowledge of the route to the cave to the grave with him. At least I now know how I can protect myself from the Asymbosum disease. When I find out where they're hiding, I still might be able to rescue the professor. Oh, a loose page has fallen out. It's blank.
Sapevo che mi davano un foglio
Great.
bianco.
That lets me transfer the symbols onto the paper. The pencils had it, but I've now got perfect copies of the 9 symbols on Father Samuel's gravestone. I've transferred the Okay. I can't exactly say I'm crazy about puzzles.
Ah, un puzzle.
I'll take this part as my start.
Questo dovrebbe andare così. No. Ok.
A map. The route to the Asymbosum's caves.
Easy.
Billy, 1907 to 2006. Only the good die young. Either he had a low opinion of himself or a wicked sense of humor.
Adesso devo raccogliere gli ingredienti.
Julius, 1767 to 1832. Here lie my mortal remains. I just wish they were yours. That's terrible. Sister Josephine, 1852 to 1904. Here rest her bones, and for the first time, alone. Cheeky. Billy, 1907 to 2006. Only the good die young. Either he had a low opinion of himself or a wicked sense of humor. On the gravestone it says, J.H.M. Excuse me for not standing up. Must have been a proper gentleman. Or a Groucho Marx fan.
Giustamente. Mi scuso per non essermi alzato. Allora, questo qui.
One blossom from the hyacinth is enough, according to the diary.
Poi questo.
That has to be rose herb. I need a stalk from it. A few stems of alyssum also need to go in the pot.
Quelli rossi e questo qua.
Looks like the Goethe plant. Star lily. Very pretty. One blossom for my hair, one for the ritual, and one to stamp under my feet as an expression of rebellion.
Zucchero. Zucchero.
I cleaned it out. There are still a few painkillers left. Let's decant.
Ok.
A bowl of lemonade. The Asymbosum's caves must be near here. Hopefully the professor's doing all right.
Sto accendendo di nuovo il fuoco. Posso fare evaporare il liquido e rimane lì sotto lo zucchero.
Home economics. Boiling the lemonades produced a thick, sticky syrup. The lemonade is boiled down to a thick, sticky syrup.
Ok. Mi dice di passare di qua.
That should work. Gotcha. Almost 2. Gotcha.
Quanto
One
veloce?
more. A res-
Basta? Ne ho preso 5, ok. Adesso mi dice di andare nella grotta.
the entrance to the caves, and no sign of the professor. I'd better go in and take a look. After carrying out the written instructions for Father Samuel's protection ritual, of course. I have absolutely no inclination to go catching hideous jungle monster disease. And in it goes. 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 So, that ought to be all the ingredients. Let's see what happens. Ugh, the way that stinks, just the smoke could keep pretty much anything away from me.
Ok.
You have launched this means, but don't worry.
Ok, solo informazioni. Ok. Adesso mi dice di entrare. Facciamo che salviamo.
Whoa.
Cos'era?
Was that one of those things? A mask with eyes, mouth, and some kind of war paint. Even more passages. Really does seem to be more extensive than I first thought. Not the slightest trace of Prof. Hartman. Only more passages that lead deeper into the caves.
Ok.
A mask with eyes.
Proviamo a seguire lui.
Are the Asambosum fans of mask? It's like some kind of graphic novel. The story begins with a man choosing children from a large group. They follow him into a cave, and the door closes after them. The children continue to live there while the man teaches them to fight. The man also gives them food, and so the children gradually grow into men. But what is that? The children seem to change on the way. Their arms become longer, and they get great big fangs like predatory animals. Pretty gruesome.
Facciamo una foto? No.
Looks like one of those weird lamps they sell in the Scandinavian furnishing store around the corner back home.
Mm.
Looks different from the other rocks. What is it? It's secured by chains to the cave roof. I feel like... Let's fuel this lamp and see what happens. It's secured by chains to the cave. The resin's burning. The poor children. If I only knew how they were changed, they'd make the story of the century. Perhaps the professor knows the answer. If he's still alive.
Sì, ma sei c'hai una macchina fotografica. Grafica là? No. Mm.
Let's fuel this lamp and see what happens.
Accendiamo. Ah, stavolta questi tre.
The port, perhaps the...
No, qui mi manca il sasso.
But was that an animal? Or a human? Or...
Proviamo a mettere l'ambra qua.
Let's fuel this lamp and see what happens.
Che palle. Qua dov'è che mi manca il sasso? Non so neanche quanti sono.
Let's fuel this lamp and see what happens.
Uno, due, tre, quattro, cinque. Ok. Allora qui c'è l'uomo con la tazza.
This mechanism with the 5 stone.
Ci sono altri uomini con la tazza. Visto questo? Allora, questi due sono sicuro, gli altri tre devo guardare. Guarda, tremano i segnali, i simboli. Quello con la tazza. Quello che guarda... Guarda qua, c'è una roccia. Un altro pezzo di ambra. No, è proprio... l'uomo che indica a sinistra. Ok. O è la bestia che indica a sinistra. Però la bestia.
Let's fuel this lamp and see what happens.
L'uomo con l'arco l'abbiamo azzeccato anche senza volere. E quello in alto invece non me lo ricordo. I tre uomini alto e due più piccoli. Ok. Ok, dovrebbe essere questo, però prima salvo. Easy. Salve, sono entrato con la porta.
Professor! Those damn creatures.
Oh. Come fa? Ah, siamo alla fine. Ok. Allora.
I have to drive the Asambosum away to be able to get to the professor.
Usa la telecamera.
Things are getting tight here. The battery's almost empty. Herr Professor! Professor Hartman, can you hear me? He's obviously in some considerable pain. I'm not going to be able to move him until those wounds are patched up and he's feeling better. Here, get these down, you prof. That should keep the blood off my clothes, and, broadly speaking, inside him. At least until I get him out of here. That will have to do until we get back to the mission. Don't worry, Professor. I'll get us out of here.
2 giorni dopo.
Hey, Professor. You look considerably less shit than you did when I found you 2 days ago. Welcome back to the land of the living.
Thank you for the expressive compliment. The sisters have looked after us quite devotedly. And of course, my deepest thanks to you for your getting me out of there, Miss...
Peters. Sam Peters.
Ah, and you are the journalist. Please forgive me for setting off without you. But the situation left me with no other choice.
Forgiven and forgotten. If you give me the story as promised.
Of course.
So you have a few minutes for me then?
Take a long look at me. Do I look like I've got anything else planned? I'm just not entirely sure that I'll be able to give you all of the answers.
Let's find out.
You want to know what the Asambosum are?
Spill it, Prof.
They are humans, I'm sure of that. Did you see the wall paintings in the caves?
Yeah.
The Ashanti were always a very secretive people with an extraordinary bond with nature. As with all native peoples, their living space also forms the basis for their existence. They naturally defend it with every means at their disposal. At some point, the Ashanti shaman must have realized that they would not be able to defend their lands indefinitely from outsiders. They therefore trained up some quite exceptional warriors.
The ritual that's shown in the cave paintings.
Correct.
But those things don't appear to be human in any way. What happened?
Well, it happens that there is a particular species of snail, which is incidentally the reason we were here at Lake Bosomtwi in the first place.
Whose genome has changed through eating the algae brought here by the meteorite.
Yes, exactly. The algae may have been carrying a virus, which, over a relatively short period of time, triggers a rapid genetic mutation in a species. There are supporting cases. On the Indonesian island of Flores, they found the fossilized remains of a very small but adult human who was a genetic successor to Homo erectus. All evidence suggests this subspecies of dwarves evolved in only a few generations as a result of their isolated environment and in response to the narrow, low-ceilinged cave systems of the region.
An unbelievable evolutionary step.
Relative to conventional evolution, this process really did take place at the speed of light.
As with the Asambosum.
Possibly. Perhaps, as with the snail and the algae, the virus is the explanatory factor across all these examples.
How far does this go?
Perhaps the shaman knew that the algae possessed some form of mutational capability and raised his warriors on it. The terrifying result you've witnessed firsthand.
Then these warriors are designed with the sole purpose of keeping outsiders like us away.
That is my interpretation, yes.
And what about this disease they carry?
That, alas, is one of the questions I cannot currently answer. The Asambosum themselves appear to be immune to it. Perhaps it's a further defense mechanism.
Do you think that they killed anyone?
No, at least not directly. The evidence so far suggests they were designed to keep potential aggressors at bay, not to actively eliminate them.
So what now? As snail research goes, Professor, this story is more sensational than most.
That may well be the case.
But?
The shaman and the Ashanti have only been acting in the best interests of their people and in perceived self-defense.
And that justifies their turning children into monsters?
We don't have to approve morally. But does morality apply in the case of survival? Doesn't every nation do reprehensible things every day in the name of survival? Clearly, we are not the first Westerners to come here, and I doubt the intentions of all such visitors are as benign as our own. In this special case, I have to ask myself, even as a scientist, is knowing the answers more important than doing the right thing?
Answers are what we're paid for.
Then I hope never to see the day that we run out of questions. Do what you think is right.
Questa è la scelta.
I have to make a decision. Should I go ahead and publish the story?
Vediamo le tue differenze.
In retrospect, publishing the Asambosum story really wasn't such a good idea. At least, not for the Asambosum themselves. There was a gold rush. Scientists, journalists, tourists, even big game hunters. The military looked on and did nothing. The few game wardens were helpless. When mass demonstrations back in the West finally delivered human rights for the Asambosum, it was almost too late. But at least the last Asambosum had been freed from the clutches of unscrupulous zoo owners and show people. They've been moved to rehabilitation stations, where they're being prepared for their return to their original habitat. The Basumtwi has been declared a World Heritage Site and Nature Reserve, monitored by an international protection force. Oh yes, and as for me, well, the story made me a small fortune, some amount of fame, and a not-so-small sailboat. In fact, a vast one. So, not such a bad ending.
Fine. Brutale così. Vediamo l'altro finale.
Professor!
Allora, lasciamo.
Things are getting tough. Herr Professor! Professor! He's up.
Allora, abbiamo
Here.
le pastiglie.
And
Te le
that should keep
vende.
the. That will have to. Don't
E
worry,
adesso lo
Professor.
prendiamo. 2 giorni dopo è morto.
Hey, Professor. Peter.
Of course,
Queste
they you spill
discussioni.
Yeah.
that's they
The risk
court.
with those.
Yeah, there are all
As
possible.
how
Perhaps
then
that
and what
that
do you think?
the evidence that
But
the shape
and that
we don't clear in this
answers.
then I do.
So
E adesso
I have to make a
scriviamo un
decision.
no.
Should I go? I simply didn't have the heart. May a cloak of silence remain forever over the existence of the Asymbosum. Freedom really is so much more important than anything else. Talking of freedom, that's something I can also enjoy limitlessly, though sadly not on my little sailboat. When I got back to Hamburg without a single line of copy, my editor flipped and bounced. It's time for me to drop by on Max in Berlin again. Perhaps he'll finally even introduce me to his beloved Nina.
Ok.
From the way he went on about her in Indonesia, I don't think they'll be apart for too long. And maybe he'll have a fabulously lucrative job for me and get that sailboat back on track.
Va bene. E niente, cosa posso dire di questo gioco? Molto abbozzato. Semplificato all'infinito. I giochi però erano intriganti. Potevano, come si potrebbe dire, sono stati stimolanti, seppur pochi, ma comunque la storia è stata poca e la lettura tanta. Totale ore di gioco 2 ore e mezza. Quindi se sai le cose veramente lo fai veloce. Non c'avevano manco i soldi per tradurlo nelle lingue base, se non proprio inglese e tedesco. Lo staff, come vedete, molto breve. Ci hanno lavorato il minimo indispensabile per appunto attaccarsi al secondo capitolo e poi, diciamo, muoverti in libertà. Altre cose, niente, la storia è stata interessante per quanto riguarda appunto la sua semplicità, niente stravolgimenti, semplicemente il fatto che appunto si è scoperto come si dice, degli indigeni in questo mondo, tutto qua. E niente, cosa faremo il sabato e la domenica non lo so al momento. Comunque ci vediamo oggi per continuare, come si dice, Rogue Galaxy. Andiamo a manetta proprio con come si chiama? Con i livelli, con i piani, cercando appunto di catturare quanti più nemici possibile. D'altro, niente, nel mentre che narravano, vi ho fatto vedere quello che ho comprato ieri, e voi mi dite, hai comprato la Games Week? No, l'ho comprato in edicola, che è One, edizione limitata, con tanto di marchio scintillante, non diffidate delle imitazioni, scegliete solo giochi originali Disney Home Video. E niente, proverò ad aprirlo dalla scatola senza spaccare la scatola, ma Noto che c'è l'etichetta, quindi non lo farò. Comunque dovrebbe essere pelosissimo. Se ci sono altre, come si dice, altri pupazzetti, forse li prenderò, ma solo per appunto fare la collezione Mediaset, potrebbe dire. Va bene, dai. Quindi ci vediamo oggi pomeriggio e questa sera, ok? Buon pranzo e buona domenica ancora. Io adesso vi lascio ad Overwatch, dai. Ciao ciao.